everyone, and welcome to Part 2 Book Club podcast. We're back. You might have thought we'd all fallen off the face of the earth, but alas, life has just taken over. And that's what we're here to talk about today. You know, all the trials and tribulations of the last podcast we did would have been January altogether, and then early March. So we are back. We have managed to find a spot in diaries and lives for us to come together and reconnect. So just a caveat though, we also talk multiple times a day, every day. So this is, fear not. It's not that we're not talking to each other. We are. But hi everyone, how are you?
Enjoying the sunshine. Yes.
I know.
I look like I'm massively enjoying the sunshine.
Some more than others.
And I need a bit of
irresponsibly.
sunscreen. I promise I do wear it.
For those listening, Sarah has some serious blonde sunburn, which is
Blonde
I'm very
sunburn.
against sunburn as someone who has had skin cancer.
I wear sun cream. It just, I don't know. I think it's because I haven't got the ring light that's actually highlighting just how like brown this is. Except for the back of my neck, which I showed you guys earlier, which is pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah. Just on that note, I did recently read a report about the effectiveness of sunscreens, and like 80% of sunscreens on the market are ineffective. So you should really check what brand you're buying. Yeah, that's just a PSA, whatever you call it. Sorry, it's still very early in the morning here. Sha and Alicia, you are actually in real life together.
Yeah. Only for a few hours.
Literally a few hours.
Yes. Sean is making a pit stop on the way down to Farnham. Yeah, so we had a few hours. We had a lovely barbecue dinner.
We did have a barbecue dinner.
And
Delish.
yeah.
Well, on that note, why don't we start with a roundup of where the hell have we all been and what the hell have we all been doing for the last, let's call it 5 whole months? Shani, given that you're on a work trip down to Farnham and not Chatham, should we start with you? What's been going on?
So I got myself a new job for the first time in pretty much 18 years. I'm still with the same company, but instead of being a kitchen designer, I am now a store interior designer. So I design our new stores, effectively. And it's very exciting. I've only been doing it for 3-4 weeks, but it's great. I'm really enjoying it. The weeks are just flying by. I'm genuinely at that point where I'm like, how is it Friday? Which is great. Haven't felt that way about a job in a long time. But no, it's great. And I really like the team. I really like the challenge. I really like everything that I've got to learn. Yeah, it's really refreshing and I like it a lot. So that's what I've been doing, all of that.
New job at 42.
New
42
job
or
at
43?
42. We're 42.
42.
Still
Apart from
41.
Sarah, knew that one was coming.
Yeah.
Obviously, I am not missing an opportunity to say I'm still 41.
Alicia, what's
Yes.
going on?
Well, I had my parents over for a couple of months, so that kept me busy because it was my dad's 80th in April. They left recently, and then work's been busy. So because I started that job, this current new job in November, and so I'm 6 months in and been hiring some people, and yeah, things are picking up, or going at a great speed. And then it's Millie's final year in primary, so lots of final things happening this term. So we had the last ever sports day for her, and she's doing her year 6 production soon in a few weeks. So lots of things. And then we found out the class that she's going to be in her new school and the house, and she's in an orange house, which she's really not happy about, and apparently they're really terrible at sports. So of all the colors, and she's more concerned about wearing orange. And she's like her mother. But no, it's been, I think we've been busy with lots of the kids things. So this weekend was jam packed with gymnastics competitions, and just busy, but good busy.
Take it away, Sarah.
Well, as you guys know, over the last 6 months, I have started writing a book, largely inspired by this book club and by the romance genre. and, my reluctance to dabble into it, I've started writing which is being corrected by Sean. It's not romance, it's a love story. Yeah, I mean, I'm not writing it entirely on my own. I'm working with someone, but yeah, so I mean, we're 6 months in, and I anticipate it still being at least another 6 months. I don't know. Like this, it's a very bizarre journey writing a book. Yeah, it is. I mean, who knows? Like, it's something that I've always wanted to do, and to sort of like be doing it and actually be in it, because I think you can think about it for I don't know how long, but actually sitting down and just writing sounds easy until you go, okay, just write. But quite often, Sean will get messages and I'll be like, what's a meet cute? What's this? What's that? Like, I'm doing some research into love stories and I don't know what these terms are. But I think everyone's like helping me in their own ways with it. Yeah, that's really, I mean, other than obviously the craziness of 3 kids, and they're getting older, and it's just harder the older they're getting, because I had this conversation with a lovely friend of mine the other day. I was like, "Hey, we can't fix things with cookies in Disney movies anymore. Like, these problems are bigger, and it's not as easy." And yeah, so I feel it's I think it's harder with older children, and I think it's only going to get harder. So like, but like Millie and Lottie, they're both finishing and going into secondary school, and I've got a year's sort of like head start on secondary school with Ted being in there. But in a way, I'm really excited for her, and at the same time, because she's so ready, like she's done, like primary school is over. And what
Cute.
about Isa?
I've just been sort of quietly having a breakdown, I think. So not much going on, just bad mental health, bad physical health, drinking too much. Perimenopause. No, I joke ish. Yeah, just life really. I think the start of this year has definitely been a bit of I think I'd call it a crossroads of, I think, a few things just kind of coming to a head, and needing to spend a bit more time on the quieter side of life, and focusing on me, which I haven't done since obviously I had Mia, which is perfectly normal. And then, of course, her diagnoses and things like that. So, yeah, I think I actually just needed to step back and exist just in my own shell for a little while, and get some help for myself, and yeah, just try and recenter, because I was definitely off balance quite significantly. And probably I'd say for longer than the 5 months, it's probably been about a year, I'd say, that I've been not really paying attention to myself. And yeah, life's starting to get back to a sense of balance, as balanced as it can be when you've got a toddler on your own. But I'm definitely feeling more positive and more centered today. Who knows what tomorrow feels like? Yeah, it's definitely been a reflection period for me, and I think probably for a few of us. And so, yeah, that's what today's podcast is about. So, today's podcast is all about where we find ourselves in this journey of the peri and the middle life and the life in general. The question today is this next chapter actually the best chapter yet? And actually, are we walking into potentially the best half? I think there's a lot of negativity around this middle age, perimenopause, the change, all of that kind of stuff. But actually, are we walking into, the best period? And I think I know my answer is 100% yes. And I've had this conversation with a few of you now, but I'm keen to hear what do you guys think? Are you still longing for your, 20s and 30s, or are you firmly in the middle age club and finding yourself?
I remember when we first talked about this, and we first had sort of like little video chats and messages and everything. One of the things was things we don't care about anymore. Like, we've got to 40, early 40s, and we're like, you know what, I don't like, I'll go out that. And I remember listening and going, I have real opinions on this that might be different, I think, to other people. And I was actually, you know, thinking like, I care more about stuff now than I think I did certain stuff that maybe not everyone would care more about than I did like say 10 years ago, 20 years ago. But I think that's because I've got to 40 and I've shed a lot of shit. Like I do care about more about how I look. And that sounds terrible. Like, because I don't know necessarily if we're supposed to say that as women anymore, that I do care more about how I look. I care way more about how I look. I care way more about how I feel. I care way more about how healthy I am, about how much exercise I have, how much I eat, like what I eat. But all of that makes me feel good. So I think like I'm putting a lot of energy into things, and I think that's maybe I had children 13 years ago, and like Zara was just saying there about not spending time thinking about yourself or prioritizing yourself. Like I would say I haven't for like say we're going back over like the last year or so, like maybe for 12 years, like I was like back shelf, like did not like, you open the cupboard and it's all like I was behind and like nothing of it was about me or for me or and now like I really care. And I've not that I put myself first in terms of the children, because they come first and they'll always come first. Like I'm on a billion school runs a day. I'm doing I don't know how many clubs. I'm at, the parties and the shops. It was Space NK opened in Chelmsford. And so it was like Friday dash from school to go and take Lottie just to like, look around Space NK. So it's all about the kids. But at the same time, I'll get up at 5:30 in the morning and I go running. And I eat far more healthier than I did 13 years ago. Like I do a lot of research into strength training. I speak a lot with the personal trainers about strength training. I look at older people who have strength trained. I'm like, I can't remember what it was I saw today, and it was about if you can walk holding 75% of your body weight for a minute, you are more likely at 90 years old able to open a jar on your own and not need help with that because you have that. And I was like, okay, I want to I want to, I think now I'm almost feel like I care more about everything because I feel like I'm protecting myself. I'm thinking more about the future, I guess. I think maybe that's just like getting to middle age and going, actually, like you said, what was it we said the other day?
I think I
I'm
said
like, well,
we're closer to going out than we are to when we came
yeah.
in.
And I'm like, well, if that is the case, if we are, then bloody hell, I want this next half to be better than the first. Like, because that's what I've got coming. And so I want to do everything I can. And it is things like I have wonderful female friendships and I have a close relationship with my family and I adore my children. I'm like fostering them, leaving me effectively in the next, between 5 and 10 years. My kids will hopefully, and that's the thing, hopefully be happy on their own. And so I think it's like thinking about what I want over the next, and I do want it to be better. I do. Like, why not? Like, yeah, that's my point.
I think that when like there's a bit of a movement that I'm sure you're all familiar with, a woman called Just Melanie. She did a video in her car and she's like, I'm officially giving notice that like, these are the things I just like I'm enough already. And I think it's got a lot of women fired up and being like, yeah, I don't care that I don't care that, my bra's too small and I don't care that I've come out without makeup on anymore and all that kind of stuff. I think it's like, yeah, it's bigger than that. It's almost like shedding, for me anyway, it feels like I'm shedding weight of expectation. Like, I don't care. And also choosing what I give. Like, full disclosure, I just got a note, an email, and it wound me up. Like, it's fully wound me up this morning. And I just had to go downstairs and be like, I don't care. I'm not dying on the hill over this today. Like, that someone has made a choice. It's the wrong choice. I've given them all the options to make better choices and they're choosing the other path, and that's fine. That's if that's the path they choose, that's the path they choose. I can't. So yeah, I feel like it's almost bigger than that for me.
And this is linked to this. This is the sciencey bit that's coming in, right? So I think Zara, did you mention it, or there's a lot more chat around women who are going through perimenopause and menopause. Obviously, your hormones are changing, the levels of the hormones, and I always get them mixed up, so I'm not going to even pretend to try. But it basically means that we will be more what we would put up with before. We don't. We're no longer put up with shit as much as we used to. And I think that's also comes with that confidence of I'm just gonna do whatever the hell I want to do because I can. And that's quite liberating obviously in itself. And I think when for me with the kids also being older and more basically
More
could be
independent.
fully independent if they really needed to be quite soon. There's a shift of like that dependency, even though they like to be around us, they still need things. When it comes down to actually, do they really need us? Probably not. I think that gives you, I feel like that level of I can be their mom and friend and just actually enjoy being there, not just as a carer, really. I'm there because I think Eliza's hilarious. I think Millie's sarcasm is, I mean, sometimes really cutting, but it's also funny. Just little things
Can
that
I just interject there that I found out today that you know how Leon and I do your faces, whatever insult. Millie started doing that.
and Eliza.
And Eliza,
Yeah.
and I'm so here for it.
I'm like, oh, because it was Auntie Shani. I was like,
Auntie
yeah,
Shirley does it. That's me.
yeah. It's like, you're annoying. Your face is annoying.
I love it.
This is great. It's really
You're
funny.
welcome.
But I think there is definitely that element of just it is the caring about what are your priorities, but also, as you said, really not giving a flying F about what anyone else thinks. And that applies for me as well to work. I'm thinking, well, I don't need to go above and beyond because why? Why am I doing that? Everyone's perfectly happy and this is fine. And yeah, I'm going to take a long lunch break and yeah, I'm going to go and, work more from home. And I don't feel guilt about it because other people don't. Other people who did it for years and felt zero guilt. And I'm joining that movement of do your job, enjoy your life, speak to your friends, have fun. Just very basic, but yeah,
For years, I used to carry home and carry the weight of work with me. Like, so that email, right, is wham, it me up big style. But you know what? It's not my business. I don't own it. I do my best.
Yeah.
That was my best. If you want to change it, that's your call to make. I disagree, but whatever. And like just letting it go. It was funny because I read a thing that was talking about because in perimenopause your estrogen drops and whether estrogen, because it's obviously the building block of procreation, does that make us more like amenable so that we can find someone to procreate with? Like we almost forgive stuff. We're full of estrogen in our 20s because we're like the most fertile we'll ever be. And so that's when we meet our partners on the whole, like his 30s. And like, does estrogen then cloud the reality? Because you're like more full of a hormone that's like, I'll forgive you. And I don't mind that you leave your dirty towels on the floor because actually I want to procreate. And my body's telling me like, that's what I'm supposed to do. And I'm supposed to create these babies and I'm supposed to like, and then you get to 40 and your body's like, estrogen, bleh, bye. And then you're like, who the hell are you? Where did you come from? Why are you doing this to me? Why won't you pick your towel up? Like, what's wrong with you? Because like, there's loads of statistics that say like more divorces happen when you're in your 40s, like all of that stuff. More women meet other women when they've been in heterosexual relationships in their 40s. All this stuff where it's like because this hormone is just like falling out of us. We're like, no, I'm not. I just don't like you anymore. Go away. I've procreated.
Yeah. Not doing it anymore. Nope.
The poor boys though. Like, I don't want to say poor boys, but like that must be quite a shocker.
Or just pick up the towels, right?
or just don't do that. But yeah, it just made me really laugh because I just think there's just so much truth to it. There's so much stuff that I put up with that not necessarily with relationships because I'm just not a relationship person, but like just in life in general. And now I'm like, whatever, dude, just that's your like
Guys, don't forget, we were supposed to like die now.
yeah, exactly.
No, it's true though. It was like that. Let's be fair. Oh, you get married, you procreate. We were all supposed to be dead in our late 30s, early 40s. Like, so it's navigating the unknown, really, biologically speaking.
this whole so you saying about the whole focus on I know we've talked about this before, but the there feels like there's this huge interest, like resurgence of or new thing of strength training for women because actually that helps us to um be stronger when older and all the good
Bones
stuff,
and joints.
bones and joints
All sorts.
and I don't know, I feel like that there's so many there's so much more towards women's health and fitness and mental health and which is amazing. And I do wonder if I don't know, do guys go look at it and go, hang on a second, this wasn't how it's supposed to be. Like, why are you going out and lifting weights? Why do you need to be so
Why did
strong?
my wife suddenly get hot?
Yeah. How come you got abs? And you know, maybe women are divorcing the men because they're like, yeah, actually you're not keeping up with this.
I think that this is so far, whilst there is an awful lot more issues in terms of health with perimenopause, and I'm probably only at the cusp of it, and my symptoms are probably quite mild at the moment. I do find myself a lot lighter in terms of expectations that I place on myself because I feel this is my time now. I get to choose how I want to be and who I want to be. And you know, even just like I got a tattoo here and I went round and round the houses for so long on, oh, I won't get it there. It's really obvious. I won't be able to hide it if I go to business meetings and stuff. And it was actually my mum that was like, if that's where you want it and it means something to you, put it where you want it, like so you can see it. My mum hates tattoos, so that was quite a revelation. But you know, it's things like that where I'm like, well, hold on, why am I holding on to it? Like, why am I holding on to societal like expectations? Like, put it on my face if I want to. Like, think of me or what other people think of me really genuinely is not any of my business. Like, whoops. So I feel lighter. I feel tireder and I feel estrogen depleted and I feel exhausted all the time. But I definitely feel lighter. Shani, what about you? How are you feeling? You're a perpetual. Shani is like when we're all on the waves of emotion and yeah.
Sean's my what's it like the steady ship in the storm or all of those kind of things. Like Sean's my go-to for balance.
I am the eternal sunshine of the spotless mind.
I said to my brother, I was like, I always just call Shani and she's always just like, yeah, she's all right. My brother's like, maybe she's just not telling you. I was like, no, I don't think that's it.
I overshare with you guys. You know this.
I also say you found the snake oil to life.
The
Yeah.
snake.
I mean, you look phenomenal as well. Like you're not aging.
I just kind of coast through life, don't I? I think I haven't really given a shit about what people think for some time because I cared probably too much in my teens and 20s. Like I cared an awful lot. Not so much about what other people thought about me, but about how I looked and how if I was cool, you know, as a teenager and like if people wanted to be my friend and all that really superficial shit that you go through in your youth. And I cared an awful lot about that in my youth. And then weirdly, so moved to the UK, started piling on weight for the first time ever. The first few years of that was a very self-conscious thing for me. But then I don't know, I kind of think I got to 30 and went, don't really care. I don't really care. Like, I have a partner, husband now, been together forever. I know he loves me for all his faults, bless him. But I know he loves me and I know I don't know. I just stopped caring about people that weren't important to me. I stopped caring about their opinion. What's the saying? People who matter don't mind and people who mind don't matter. And that, I think, is such a poignant adage because it's so true. If you care about them, then their opinion matters. But if you don't care about them, what does their opinion matter? Zara, you phrased it. How did you phrase it? Someone's opinion of you is not your business.
Yeah.
And that's so true.
Yeah.
It's hard sometimes to internalize that. But it is so true. Someone's opinion of you has nothing to do with you. It's not your business at all. But it can be hard to just.
I think that's something that we all have to keep working on though, because I think I who sit here and I'm like, I don't care, whatever, do your thing. Like I know for a fact I'm gonna mull what happened this morning over and over and over in my head, and I'm gonna go back and like yeah, and I have to keep just letting that go, like whatever.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. I overthink things, like
Yeah.
really trivial things, and I'll overthink them. And to a point where the other person that was involved in the conversation probably has never thought about it again, and yet I've thought about it
Mm.
forever. Yeah. And if
Exactly.
I ever brought it up with them, they'd be like, I don't remember this conversation. And I'd be like, oh,
Mm.
well, on the 6th of June, 2007, I said to you.
Yeah. Or you made a joke and I didn't laugh in December. I did talk a little bit about one question I had for you guys was have you made any decisions or changes lately that you think your future self is going to thank you for? Sarah, I know you said about weightlifting and being able to open jars. I can't open jars now. But yeah, is there anything that you've done recently or changed recently that you think your future self is going to come back and thank you for?
You know, I think, in all honesty, I think the book is such a huge part of what I'm doing at the moment. And it's something, like I said earlier, that I've always wanted to do. And in 20 years' time, like this might be nothing, right? Like I might write this book. I might not be able to get an agent. I might not be able to get it published. I might then self-publish it and it might tank. But my whole thing in doing this has always been that if I don't write it, I know the outcome. Like, I don't write it, I know exactly what happens. I write it, I don't know what happens. So I could, in 20 years' time think, yeah, like I'm so pleased I finally did that. And I think that that's one of the things about getting to, say, I don't even think it's necessarily to 40, but I think that maybe when you're younger, you think you have to achieve so much so early. And you need to get your degree, get your job, get your house, get a man or woman, get kids, get this and that and that. And you think, and then you're done. And I think actually what's been really lovely is going, okay, I'm 41 years old and I've started writing a book and it might be everything. It might be nothing, but it could be everything. And the only way it isn't is if I don't do it. 100% regardless. Yeah. Regardless of if it's a success or not, it would never be a failure, right? Because I did it. So yeah. So yeah, it's a lot of words. It's a real load of words, guys. A lot of them. There's a lot of staring at a computer screen going, I am terrible at this.
If it makes you feel any better, my author friend constantly messages me when she gets to different phases of her book and she's like, I forgot how to write. I'm so bad at this. Why do I suck? Why does this book suck? And I'm like, no, you're just in that self-doubting phase.
Mm.
And she's like, no, I suck.
It's bizarre. There are times that I'm sat there and I'm literally like, I could be like fist pumping the air with, I'm a literary rock star. Like, this is going to be like, and there are times I sit there and go, yeah, I just don't even know English, man. So that for me that would be what I hope. Yeah. Irregardless of the outcome, I'll always be happy that I'm on this journey. Yeah.
You should
It's a
be.
big achievement.
Yeah, it's huge.
Not yet.
Yay. Be halfway there. So huge.
Not really. No. Let's be clear. Maybe a third.
You're on the journey.
Listen, that's
You're
a
on
third
the
more
journey.
than I've written of a book.
John?
So what have I changed? I think the planning for the future, not just me and Leon, but with the kids, but more around actually like the experiences. So whereas before it was more, as you said, Sarah, it's like, okay, we like a year and a half ago, it's like, okay, the bigger house and the bigger this and the bigger that. And then it was just that kind of revelation that we really don't need that and won't miss it. But what we'll miss is having all that time with the children before they go and fly the nest. And we love a holiday. I mean, we all, as a family, we love our holidays. We like to, like, we love the experiences. They love Disney. So for us, it's now, so next year is we're looking at, what we might do and what's on the list. And, Auntie Zaza's on the list and trying to get Amelia to go that way. Japan's on the list. There are loads of things, loads of places that we want to go to as a family, but also maybe just me or, with you guys. Or I think a lot of it is just the spending time with people, the doing things that we really love. And, travel, food, different cultures has always been my thing. Like I just I love it and want to make sure that actually focusing the energy around and the money and the time around that, because that brings me real joy as opposed to, I don't yeah, it'd be nice to have a bigger garden, but then more bigger garden, bigger problems with the weeding, like so.
Dearest friend, like exactly what you just said there. One of my dearest friends in Essex has said to me many times, and they travel a lot, and they've got a beautiful house. But she was always like, when my son grows up, is he going to go, oh, guys, wow, we had a hell of a kitchen island? Or are they going to say, I spent every holidays in the Maldives and Dubai and
Yeah.
snorkeling, and I learned to dive at the age of 10.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
or are they going to sit around a really nice kitchen island?
Will they go, hey, today and yesterday was very much like club champs, and the girls will remember. They'll remember that I went yesterday, and we all went today. And Millie, did brilliantly. She got that medal. We were all there, and just being there, showing up. We're so proud of her. But it's just seeing sports day. Yeah, I think that's my answer. It's just refocusing on the experiences and the memories as opposed to the things that you have.
Really, I'd just say changing the job, because it's given me such a better work-life balance as well. So I no longer work evenings. I no longer work weekends. I no longer work bank holidays. I don't have to fight for time off in December, January, February, which I've had to do all of those things for the last 18 years, basically. So just having that work-life balance, I start at 8:30, I finish at 5:30. On a Friday, my boss often tells me to log off at 4. Thank you. And he's also the opposite of a micromanager, which is great. So he's like, as long as you get the work done, I don't really care if you need to take an hour out in the day to take the dog for a walk or go and do something. He's like, as long as the work is done, I don't care. And I'm like, that's what I like. Thank you very much. No micromanaging for me, please. So yeah, I have such a better work-life balance, and it's, as I say, I'm only a few weeks in, but I'm so much happier for it. I'm lighter for it. And I think my current self thanks me too, but I think my future self will also thank me for finally making this change. But I think the timing was just right.
Yes, I'm laughing because Sarah's like, now you're even pushing back those wrinkles even further because you're even more of a work bloody life balance.
No kids, no stress. This is how you get a wrinkle-free face. Just one dog.
Don't have to work weekends.
One dog. That's all you need.
Just one dog.
One dog, one Pete.
What about you, Z?
So the journey I've been on in the last few months is recognizing that I've probably been quite abusive to myself. I'm sorry, it's just cracking me up this morning.
She's so chatty this morning.
She's so chatty this morning.
Yeah, I think I've been self-medicating with alcohol for a good long while. I've been doing it in a way that screams problem, which is alone at home, no socialization. So that's all kind of come to a head, I think, in the last little while. And I've realized as well that alongside that, I've basically lived in a perpetual state of being exhausted and tired, and my body feeling like I've got it's got a million things to do and not enough energy to do it. So I spent a lot of money and time on myself recently, and getting a therapist and working through where I'm at and how I can make sure that I'm not taking all of this forward with me into this next chapter, and that I've got some good mechanisms to cope with what I've got, which is I've got an awful lot of amazing, beautiful things, but I also have a child with special needs that she is going to require lifelong attention from me, and my future isn't and it still hits me, I'm still working through all this, but now I'm allowing myself to feel all these things. But so Sarah's saying, the kids will be leaving in a few years, and I'm like, that's not my future. There's a reality that that's not going to be the future that my Mia has. And as they get older, they get more difficult. Yeah, I'm probably going to have that, but it's going to look totally different to what you guys are talking about. And so accepting that, and interestingly, I've accepted her completely, and I wouldn't change her for the world. I wouldn't change how she is, but then accepting that what I thought my future was going to look like, and it is mine, not hers, because she's not mourning for anything. She's happy as she's here with her toothbrush. the floor. So just accepting that, and I think in that process also starting to think about relationships I have and dependencies that I have, and how to, boundaries again, and all of that kind of stuff. So I think for me it's that, and then it's also shedding the I think trying to find other places that validate me instead of just validating myself. So work's a really big one, and letting go of that. Like, if something bad at work happens, something bad at work happens. Turn the laptop off, go home, like go downstairs and enjoy your time with your daughter. So I think that, and I think with that then obviously comes exercise and health, and I have a roundabout relationship with that, but I feel like I'm getting back on track and actually looking at it as a health thing, not as a lose weight thing, which is huge. And starting to understand things like VO2 max and my ability to carry weights. And same as Sarah, like we've clearly been looking at the same things, but what do I need to do so that in my 60s and 70s I can still be super active, because I will most likely still have me at home, and I need to be the most kind of healthy I can be. So yeah, I think just all of that, and then just shedding the stuff I do not give a shit about anymore, like just don't care. So that's probably it from me. I did have one last question, and we've kind of running out of time, so I'll make it really quick. I'm going to put you all on a time limit for the
No,
answer.
like at the Oscars, we give a speech.
But I'm really curious to know what's your wish for this next chapter? I'll go first. I'll kick us off. So my wish for this next chapter is balance. I want to be able to every day, in whatever way, find balance and happiness in just the day to day, and not be striving for, like you've all said, the crazy big house and the crazy big car and the business class seats. Like, just being super comfortable in my happiness on a day-to-day basis with my daughter, who I'm incredibly grateful I get to be her mum. That's mine.
Mine would be calm. Just like peace.
Mine was it wasn't calm, but it was similar, and you mentioned it as that peace, like inner peace. And I think that is a lot of that is the acceptance of a lot of different things. And with peace comes that, you can just breathe, and that, like, freedom, really, that freedom to just be who you are, enjoy everything, the little things in life. And yeah, I think that's all you really need, I think.
My answer is going to probably annoy all of you, but I don't really have an answer, so just more of the same.
Because you got the inner peace, you bitch.
Just want more of the same.
I'm telling you, like, I don't know who was giving out, like, the wisdom. She got all of it. I tell you what, man.
I must have been some sort of saint.
Genuinely think there's something about the kind of genetics of it. Like, I think
Yeah.
Sean's just inherited a dad.
But I actually think there's probably a lot to be said about my upbringing, my childhood. So my dad was retired by the time I was 10. So he was always home. And my mum was always out. Not that she had a job, but she was just always out.
She's still always out.
She's still always out. And I was basically, my dad was my best mate. And like, because he was older, so you know how, like, you've all experienced this, where your upbringing by your parents is different to how they treat the grandchildren, right? So I think in a way, my dad brought me up in the same mentality as he would have brought up, like, a grandchild.
So interesting.
So
Yes.
because I could do no wrong in that man's eyes.
You got the grandchild treatment.
I got grandchild treatment.
Bloody hell.
But it was apparent, right?
That's the
Genuinely. What you need is a dad who's 55 when you're born. If you could just achieve that, then you've nailed it.
I do think there is a part of me that has often wondered, though, Sean, if part of your zen, you've recognized it so much earlier, this kind of don't give a shit mentality, is because you have had a little bit more of, like, some confronting life. Like, you lost your dad in our 20s. Like, that's very early to lose a parent. So your view of, like, mortality and, like, the fact that this is a fleeting Then, you know, the IVF stuff and losses, like nothing can prepare you for that. And I just wonder if that has, because you had that earlier, which is something we now at this stage are starting to contemplate, which is like our parents' mortality and all that stuff, which is, yeah, a whole other topic. But I often wonder if, like, because you were confronted with all that so early, you actually just were like, I'm just gonna enjoy life. Like, I'm not gonna let this all get to me. I think, I don't know. That's my 2 cents.
Yeah, it's a good point. Like, there's a lot to be said about realizing what matters and what doesn't matter when you're faced with losing someone close to you. And I mean, obviously not the same level, but Melissa was one of my closest friends and she died when I was 16 and we were all 16. And losing someone so young, who herself was so young, that was a big like shock to the system. And you know, you do appreciate life and your friendships and the people that matter a lot more once you're confronted with that. And then again, losing my dad at 24, and like he'd been ill for a few years leading up to that, so it was always a bit touch and go for a few years there. So yeah, I think you've probably got a good point there. And then we lost Pete's mum. That was before IVF. We lost Pete's mum just before IVF, and then IVF with that year and a half shit show. Yeah, I maybe it is just that I went, you know what? Everything else doesn't really matter. Doesn't really matter.
It really doesn't. Like, it really, really doesn't. But also, you're a unicorn. And bombshell unicorn. We might have to wrap this up because Sarah's got an early start. I've got an actual job to go to. Anyway, I'm going to love you and leave you, beautiful human beings. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope everyone found this a bit entertaining. And just remember, every day does not have to look like the picture perfect version that you think it's supposed to look like. Some days look like going, like Sean. Some days do look like going to bed at 5 o'clock and brushing your teeth twice so that you don't go and pour yourself a glass of wine because it's not good for you. And therapy is excellent, and I highly recommend it to anyone, as is exercise, and as is finding 3 humans who you love, sometimes more than your own family, and still being best friends 30 years. Thanks ever so much for being open and honest and vulnerable, and I will smell you all later.
See you later.
Love you.